Hello, welcome to session 2 of Introduction to SQL, continuing from last week. Just to review, these are what we're going to be covering throughout the 12-week course. We looked at a lot of the select statements and also some of the aggregation and the union and stuff like that. This week we're going to be looking at some more. We're going to start with the SQL comparison operator. So comparison, you have a number of options here. The equal is equal to, greater than is greater than, less than, the less than sign is less than. Then you got the right angle equal sign is greater than or equal to, and the left angle equal is less than or equal to, and the two angle brackets together means not equal to. So let's take a look at some examples here. All right. Let's go down to the next one here. Here we go. Some examples. So one example here is going to be select star from products where type is equal to simple. Then we go ahead and execute this, and we get a bunch of products where the type is equal to SQL. Now we can do just the opposite and say, like this, that's not equal to. And we execute this, we will see in the type is here is everything that is not equal to. So that's equal to and not equal to. For the other operator, says here greater than. So if you want to look at the price, for example, let's say price. This is regular price greater than 10. And then if we go over here, I have to look at the price. It'll be all the way over here somewhere. Let's go further over there. I probably should have just took out the regular price. Where are you at here? There we go. Regular price is greater than 10. Now I can then just the opposite and say less than 10. Oops, we're not equal to 10. That would there be not equal to. So less than 10, see all these here are greater than 10. Less than 10 gives us fewer products. But if we scroll over here, look at regular price right there. Now that's all less than 10. So that's less than or equal to. And let's see. Okay, so that's basic operations there. There are some other ways you can put in the filters that are handy. One is the between clause, which means a column is between two values, and that's inclusive. The lower value to the higher value. In is in a list of values. Not in is not in a list of values. And there's also the any, which really works the same as in. And all is another one as well. And then exists. So let's go on, take a look. Okay, so here we're saying, give us everything where the regular price is between 10 and 20. So let's go back to MySQL, and we'll try that one. Here we have regular price. So now I'm just going to modify this to say between 10 and 20. All right, and SQL is not case sensitive. It's kind of a standard to do SQL in uppercase. And that kind of goes back to the days when SQL was embedded in languages like C. Everything had to be lowercase. So to have the SQL stand out when it was embedded in a host language, they did everything in uppercase. But SQL is actually case sensitive. Okay, so this is going to give us everything where the price range is going to be between 10 and 20. And if we scroll over to where the prices are, there they are, regular price. And you can see all those prices are between 10 and 20. And it is inclusive. You see a number of prices that say 20 because this between is inclusive. So it's between 10 including 10 to 20 including 20. So it's inclusive. And we can see here, I did this here, and I just did the query with the name and the regular price to make it easier. And you can see the result right there. The in operator is where a column is within a group of potential values. In this case, we're looking at the categories from products. So here I will, go back. There we go. Let's go back to SQL again. All right, let's grab this query. Easier to do it that way. Just put that there. Execute it. And you see we get, this is where it's in. Now, flipping it around, you can say not in. So that means it's not in that list of values. And you'll see you get a bunch here. They're in or they're not in, right? Now, okay, it's not in. We just did that one. That gave us the exact opposite. Between and not in compound condition. So these can be part of a compound condition. So now combining the two together, what we're going to say is where the regular price is between 10 and 20, and the categories are not in one of those. So let's go ahead and give this one a try. All right, and of course we can flip this around and say in. Let's see what this gives us. Gives us difference. So so you see that these are compound conditions. Compound condition is when you have two or more criteria that you're filtering the data based on. Exists. Now here we're just looking to say, does it exist in the row? So we're saying, give us all the products, where exists, select one, and this is a subquery right here. When you've got a query that is part of an outer query, this is called a subquery. And this is also called the inner query. The query that is inside of another query is an inner query, and the main query is referred to as the outer query. So this is using exists within as a subquery. And you can say where exists or not exists. And there's none of them. Okay, so let's say I think there aren't any prices over 100. That's fine. Let's say not exists. This exists program part here is there's not much value here. You could have just put that directly in the where clause. It works. It becomes helpful with more complex queries, and also it's helpful for use in things like stored procedures, which we will get to later on. Okay, now basic arithmetic operators: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus. And you can do this here. What we're doing here is we're taking the regular price and the sales price, and then what we're doing is we're subtracting the sale price from the regular price, which is going to give us the difference, which would be the discount price. All right, go ahead and execute that one there. And it gives us everything. Now you can also give this something called an alias, because right now this name here is kind of ugly. So this would probably be the discount price, right? And we just call it here as discount price. Or you can actually even do it another way. You can put it between these backticks and say discount price. Go ahead and execute this. And that now it looks a little bit nicer. And you can do all kinds of addition, subtraction as whatever you want. This stuff does not even have to be, a value in a table. You could just simply say, select 2 times 2, do something like that. And there you're going to get, it's going to be 4. You can say, what if you want to know modulus, for example? Modulus is the remainder of dividing two numbers. So 5 modulus 2, that should give us a remainder of 1, I believe. Let's see if it's correct. Yeah, 1. And you can give this a label as well as remainder. So you don't even have to query a table to use a lot of these functionality. You can just put what we call, this is a literal value. Next topic we'll talk about here is what is a null? And then some special operators to deal with null values. Simply put, a null is a value, a field, a column with no value. It's not an empty string in case of a string. It's not a 0 in case of a numeric field. It just means it has no value at all. Even an empty string would be considered a value. Even 0 is considered a value. So null simply means there is no value. So here we're going to look at a different table called a customer table that I have in my database as well. And now we're going to do is say, give me all my customers that don't have an email. Email is null. right? So first of all, let's take a look at all the customers. We'll just take a look at all of them. Star from customers, right? Where are you? Oh, just customer. There's no S. Okay, there's no S. Okay, they are. Now, just scans only 5, but just scanning it, eyeballing it, you can see, here you go, Smith, Jane Smith does not have an email. So let's put our query in there. Okay. Now, this might be useful to flip it around and say not null. Maybe you want to send out an email distribution. Well, you're only going to send it to customers that have an email. So you can say where email is not null. The other way around, where the email is null, that might be a follow-up to try and get an email for that customer. So that might be a report for some department that's trying to clean up the data and trying to get an email for the customer. So, you can use it either way. If null is a default value. So for example, here, right now, if I do select everything from our customers, we'll go back here, just give me all the customers. Right now, that's kind of ugly. It just says null. So this if null will allow us to give a default value if it is null. So if null, give it some sort of default value. Okay. And so now it just says no email. These are set operations. So a set operation allows you to combine 2 separate queries together into a single result set. Union all will give us a union of both tables. Union distinct will give you a union of only the distinct values. And then we'll look at intersect and except. Intersect is where common values, common rows in common, and except is table 1 except the values in table 2. So let's take a look at some of these. Union operator is used to combine the results of 2 or more select statements. Every select statement within the union must have the same number of columns, and they must have compatible data types. Columns must also be in the same order. So taking a look, we got customer. I think I got 2 customer tables. I got customer and customer new. So let's take a look at this customer. Let's take a look also at customer new. What we see, we've got some customers here. There may be some in common, some not in common. We're going to do a union. Now, where this is useful, and I've used it because I worked in healthcare for 26 years. I worked for a healthcare company that acquired hospitals. And a lot of times you have to do when you acquire a hospital, you have to merge the patient records. You can't have duplicate records. So you have to do something to try and merge them because you might have patients in some of your hospitals that have also been a patient in the hospital you just acquired. So you have to be able to merge them. So a union statement is something that could help you do that. It would be more like a first pass. You'd probably have to do some more complex data parsing. You might be also using a host language like Python or something like that to help you kind of merge the duplicate records. And later in this course, we will talk about connectivity between SQL and languages like Python, JavaScript, Java, even PHP, and how those languages can connect to SQL and execute queries and do something with the data results it gets from it. But as a first pass, you might do something like this. Here we now got a union of here. And we can see we've got, looks like 8 rows. It's like 8 rows we got there. If we look at the individual tables, let's just look at customer right here. Okay. You've got, it looks like 5. I think we do just customer, it's going to give us an error. Oh, no. And we've got 5 as well. But the combined data set showed that it was 8. And that's because it filtered out the duplicates. There's some duplicates in there. We could try and eyeball them. That would be a lot. Now we can add the word all in here. And now you see we get 10. So we got some duplicates. So some of the things you could try and possibly do with this is maybe try and order it. Order by last name, first name. try and eyeball the duplicates. Well, yes, you've got some duplicates. The first one's duplicate. You can do that. Now, you can also try one of the options like intersect. And then we really wouldn't, intersect. Here. So intersect gives you the rows in common. So there are our two duplicates, right? That's where you get the two duplicates. And you've also got the except is the last one. And so this is going to be the first table less the second one. And we can flip this around. Right? Looks like it's the same. So those are some of the versions you have here for that. Let's look at some of these, restating some of these. Select all example, we looked at that. It's everything from both tables. The intersect was the table the rows have in common. Except operator is used to retrieve all the unique rows from the first query except the records that are present in the second result set on the right. So this is common. It's helpful when you've got potential, you're trying to merge two tables together that have the same data around. And like I said, in my career in healthcare, I did a lot of that. Got to do a lot of that. And it's generally a first pass because merging data sets usually requires some processing language in addition to SQL. And some of the more common ones to use are Python's very popular. I used to do it a long time ago in a language called Perl. And also you can do it in others. You can do it in JavaScript, Java. And towards part of this course, towards the end, is how you connect to a SQL database from one of those host languages and execute queries and combine them. And this is how really full stack applications work. On the back end, you have a database, and then on the front end, you're going to have maybe a web browser or something. But that's how full stack applications work. That's really also how things like data and AI, artificial intelligence, work as well. Python is very popular with artificial intelligence. But artificial intelligence works by really manipulating and searching large, complex data sets. And that's where SQL really shines. And then it might be further analysis might be done in something like Python. So that's coming in future sessions. Until then, next week will be another video. Leave some questions in the comment section. I'll try and answer them. And, and also any comments, how the presentation's going, something you'd like to learn about that's related to SQL. Go ahead. I'll try and answer them as soon as I can, and I'll try and include them in my lectures. So please leave comments. Please also subscribe to my channel and like this video if you can. You can find me online at my website, appjedi.net, which is right there. Some of the technologies we use that I'm very familiar with. These are Folsom stacks. And you can contact me as well. And until then, have a good week. Bye.